All right, are you guys ready for a self-assessment? Okay, so check it out. I am going to read you these questions, a series of 5 questions at a time. If you agree with the question, if the answer is yes, you'll make one little chicken scratch, right? And if you want to just, I'll tell you, this is number 1, and you can write number 1, and then I'll ask you the question, and you'll just make your little tally marks. So make your tally marks, 5 questions. If you get 3 or less, it's possible that you're a starseed. 3, you're on the fence, okay? It's possible that you belong to that group or are connected, resonated with that starseed group, and you might want to explore it further, okay? I pulled out some of the more identifying, more rare and unique characteristics of the different starseeds. That way, if you fall into that category, if you're going to get 3 or more right, 3 or less, it's possible. It's possible. If you have 4 or 5 out of the 5 that I'm asking, then it's extremely likely that you do identify with that race of starseeds, and it's encouraged for you to connect with your guides in meditation or explore further on that topic so that you can become more educated about your star family, right? Your star lineage. So the first one, I'm not even going to tell you which ones I'm asking about. That's why I'm saying number 1. Number 1 here, I'm going to ask you 5 questions, and you might end up with 5 tally marks, okay? Or you might have 1, you might have 3, who knows? The first question for number 1. Are you a leader in your field or community? If you are, then you get a mark. Are you a leader in your field or community? The second one, do you have trouble with authority higher than yourself? Doesn't mean all the time. And these are honest. I mean, you answer honestly, guys. If you don't answer honestly, you're cheating yourself. Nobody knows these answers but you. And some of these questions are a little bit personal, but it makes a difference on if you truly might fall into that category of resonating with that group of beings or not. Okay? So just be honest, it's only for you. Number 3, do you have a talent for getting people to work together really well? Are you able to get a group going and get them onto a task and they're able to achieve it because you rallied them to that cohesiveness? If so, put a check mark. Number 4, are you able to blend in anywhere? Can you fit in with this group and that group? Are you able to blend in anywhere? Did you find in high school that you were kind of smoozing from this group to that group and you were able to fit in anywhere? Put yourself a little tally mark. And the 5th question, do you enjoy physical activity? I can't say that I do. Not everybody's going to say yes. Do you enjoy physical activity? If so, give yourself a check mark. Now, this is number 1. All 5 questions have been asked. Count out your tally marks. If you have 3 or less tally marks, then it's possible that you could be linked with the Alpha Draconian or reptilian race. If not, you may not. If you have 4 or 5, put a little star next to your 4 or 5 tally marks. Put a star there. That means starseed. That means you may have some starseed connections to the Alpha Draconians or the reptilians. And guys, that is not a bad race. I know that, reptilians, draconians. We all have our own paths. And if you are aligned with love and light and God, and you connect with your team, and you connect with the Alpha Draconians or the reptilians, and you say, Spirit, bring me some reptilians. Are you aligned with love and light and God? Then know that that reptilian will be there in service of God, in service of you, and to help you. Okay? Don't let a name turn you off, because that's a whole race of beings that you might be turning out of your life that might just be a magical experience. Now, the next one on the self-assessment. This is number 2. Are you drawn to nature, animals, or the ocean? Like strongly drawn. Are you drawn to nature, animals, or the ocean? If so, put yourself a check mark next to number 2, a tally mark. Second question. Are you loyal, trustworthy, and usually calm? Put yourself a check mark. You might find that you identify with more than one, guys. We've said this. We all have so many lives and incarnations. The third question here. Do you struggle to express your own emotions? If so, put a check mark, tally mark. Fourth, do you have very few but very close friends? If so, put yourself a tally mark. Do you get to solving problems right away? You don't want to dilly-dally about it. Just, come on, let's just do this and take care of it. Do you get to solving problems right away? If so, give yourself a check mark. Not all starseeds are like that. Now count up your tallies. If you have 3 or less, it's possible. If you have 4 or 5, put a star next to it because you might be a Sirian starseed. Put your star, write Sirian, circle it, go back later. All right, let's go to the next one. Go to the next one. You guys ready? First question. This is number 3. First question. Do you cry easily? If so, put your tally mark. Do you cry easily? Second question. Would you give the shirt off your back to a stranger? This is a hypothetical question, but really and truly, you know if you would or not. Would you give the shirt off your back to a stranger? Hypothetically, yes or no? Give yourself a tally if you would. Do you generally have lower blood pressure, lower body temperature? Have you noticed this at your doctor's appointments? Or are you always cold, covering up? Especially your limbs, hands and feet? If so, give yourself another tally. Do you give to others more than they seem to give you back? Just be honest. Sometimes it hurts. Just be honest. You can only help yourself by being honest with these questions. Do you give to others more than they seem to give you back? Check that tally mark. Are you a people pleaser? You will know. If you are a people pleaser, give yourself that other check mark there, that tally mark. And if you have 3 or less, it's possible you may be linked to this star race. But if you have 4 or 5, please put a star next to your tallies because you are definitely connected with the Pleiadian starseeds. Pleiadian star beings. All right, you ready to go to the next one? This is the 4th one we're going to just scan for, self-assessment. Have you ever been called a hippie? I have. Have you ever been called a hippie? If so, give yourself a tally mark. Do you love even if it's toxic? Sometimes. Give yourself a tally mark. Do you feel the energy of animals, of plants, or of other beings? You feel the energy of them? Can you feel the anger of someone else? That's the same kind of thing. Oh, I feel this. If so, give yourself a tally mark. Are you usually shy, quiet, or introverted, at least at first? Does it take time for you to warm up to somebody? If so, give yourself a tally mark. Do you have trouble accepting money from people? Even if they're trying to give it to you, even if they owe it to you. Do you have trouble accepting money from people? Or even like gifts, like donations, that kind of thing. Have trouble accepting anything? If so, give yourself a tally mark. Total up your little tallies for number 4. And if you have 3 or less, it's possible that you may be linked to this star system. But if you have 4 or 5, go ahead and put a star next to your tallies. And know that you may have some star lineage connected to the Hadarian Starseeds. All right, number 5, the 5th one for our self-assessment tool. Again, give yourself a tally if you prefer felines. If you like cats, if you hate cats, don't you dare tally this. But if you like cats or prefer felines, give yourself a tally by number 5. Are you quite independent and a natural leader? If so, give yourself a tally mark. Have you had periods in your life of promiscuity? Gotta be honest. Have you had periods in your life of promiscuity or not being able to settle down? If so, give yourself a tally mark. Do you view your body and your wardrobe as an extension of yourself that you can decorate? This is pretty specific. Do you view your body and wardrobe as decoration tools, guys? If so, give yourself a tally mark. Now, if this is a true statement, give yourself that last tally mark. You cannot stand to be told no or to be held back. Be honest. If so, give yourself that tally mark. Now total up your tallies. If you have 3 or less, it's possible. But if you have 4 or 5, put a star next to your little tallies because you are a Lyran Starseed. It's a good indication that you have a connection to the Lyran star beings. So look into that. Look into that. Let's go to the next one. Are you ready? Number 6. Now I'm going to ask you, give yourself a tally mark if this rings true to you. Do you present outer confidence while you're actually hiding inner insecurities? If so, give yourself that tally. I could. Let's be honest. Do you present outer confidence while hiding inner insecurities? A lot of people do. So if so, give yourself that tally. Second one. Do you crave freedom and you want to break out of the system? You may not even know exactly what that means, but it resonates, right? Break out of the system. I don't feel free, whatever. If so, give yourself a tally. Third question. Are you immediately distrustful of government or authority figures? If so, boop, give yourself that tally. Do you feel strongly connected to nature, to water, or to traveling? If so, give yourself that tally. Last question. Do you feel like a gypsy or do you yearn to live off-grid? If you do, at times, it doesn't have to be every day, but if at times you feel that way, give yourself that tally. Now, 3 or less, it's likely you may have a connection, but 4 or more, if you've got 4 or more tallies, give yourself a star next to that and note that you may be an Andromedan starseed. Get into meditation with them. Get into meditation with your Andromedan team. That's what I'm feeling on that. All right, next one. You guys ready? This is our 7th example. First question. Are you drawn to sacred geometry? If so, give yourself a tally. Are you drawn to science, technology, or quantum physics? If so, put yourself a tally. Are you very sensitive to lights, sounds, or smells? Or have some kind of allergies, environmental allergies, skin allergies? If so, give yourself that tally. Do you crave deep and meaningful philosophical conversations? Do you really want to talk about the deep stuff that most people don't really get into? Give yourself a tally. Are you strongly empathic, meaning you feel your environment, you feel what's going on, but you also feel connected to the universal oneness? This is kind of specific, guys, but this helps to tell you which one you really resonate with, or more than one, which ones, right? So if so, give yourself that tally. Now count your tallies, and if you have 3 or less, it's likely you may be connected, but if you've got 4 or more, put a star there because you may be an Arcturian starseed. The 8th example, if you're ready. You ready to put some more tallies? First question, do you enjoy competition but you want to win? If that's you, put a mark. Put your tally there. Do you contain your emotions well? Usually. If so, bloop, put your tally. Are you a perfectionist? If so, give yourself a mark. Do you require proof to change your mind? Some people, okay, I'll take it. No. Do you require proof to change your mind? If so, give yourself a tally. And do you enjoy dissecting and analyzing information? Is that just something that gets you going? If so, put yourself that tally there. Count up your tallies, 3 or less. It's likely. But 4 or more, you can put a star next to your little tallies because you are more than likely an Orion starseed. If you have 4 or more, you have lineage in Orion. There's a good chance. Take it as it resonates, okay? The next one. First question, are you a loner by choice? Usually. Are you a loner by choice? Have you been throughout your life? If so, give yourself a tally on that one. Number 2, do you feel like people either like you or they hate you? There's no in between. They like me or they hate me. If so, give yourself a tally on that one. You can be very funny, but you can also be kind of mean, like an edge to your funniness, maybe sarcastic humor. If that's you, give yourself a tally. If this is true, give another tally here. You don't aim to be dishonest, but you can easily lie your way out of a jam. If that's true for you, give yourself a tally. You don't trust people easily, if at all. Maybe one person. If that. If so, give yourself a tally. Now total up those tallies for number 9 there. If you have 3 or less, it's likely you could have a connection. But if you have 4 or more of these signs that you mark yes to, if you have 4 or more tallies, put a star there, because there's a good chance that you could be a Maldekian starseed. This is the last one, number 10. So go ahead and make your tallies for 10. First question, are you sexy even unintentionally? You just put off that vibe, don't mean to, or maybe you do. But do you just have that sexy vibe about you? If so, give yourself a tally. Second question, have people called you flighty or flaky? Have you ever been dubbed that? Or do you secretly know inside that you're a little flake? Just give yourself a tally. You're only hurting yourself if you're not honest. Give yourself a tally. All right, this one here. Women are often jealous of you and men are too attentive. Does that resonate? If so, put a little tally next to this one. Are you taller than most people that you know? Are you generally a bit taller, on the taller side? If so, give yourself a tally for that one. Do you daydream or get distracted often? Get lost in that fantasy world in your mind? If so, give yourself a tally. Total them up. If you have 3 or less, it's likely you may have a connection. But if you have 4 or 5 tally marks, put a star there. You have a good chance of being a Venusian starseed. So how do you guys feel about this? I gave you guys an overview of these races, and I really tried to pull some of the more identifying characteristics out to kind of like weed them out so you wouldn't get false positives on this little self-assessment that I implemented here. So now that you have those names, I would suggest to you, search online. You can always find some books or whatnot, but you can search online for any of these race, Starseed, Arcturian, or whatever you want to search for, and read up on it. You may find that the more you read, the more you realize, maybe I don't resonate with all of these races, or maybe I more closely resonate with this one or that one. Really, you can resonate with many, and in all reality, it really does not make a huge difference or impact in your daily life as of now moving forward. I'm a starseed, I connect with these races and I identify, that's great, but how does this help me? So let's talk about how this helps you. This helps you because you're identifying these characteristics within your vessel with these races who want to help us. They do help us, guys. These races that we've talked about today, that I'm telling you about today, are actively supporting and helping many people on this planet. They already are. They're helping people telepathically. They're helping people in their physical lives. They're helping people in many ways. So now that you've become aware of these different races, how they might conduct their business, what kinds of energies they hold, whether they're more technological or more emotional or whatever it is, how you may identify or resonate with them, dive in a little deeper, learn a little bit more, see how you feel about it, and connect with them in meditation. There's nothing that any teacher can teach you that is more accurate than what you can learn connecting with your guides, connecting with your galactic guides or your team in meditation. They can teach you way more about it than I can. And that's because it's through firsthand experience.